Please join me in welcoming back Director Ariel Vromen. Okay, are there any questions? Yes, please go ahead. Yeah. All right, the question is for our guest here about the casting. Why did you choose Michael Shannon?
I love Michael since his early work, but I got really obsessed about him after I saw him in Revolutionary Road, and I approached him a few times, and he was like, I don't know if I can be in your film, because it was hard to find this movie with Michael. But then we did a test scene with him 2 years ago, and since then I became obsessed. So it was very hard to not see even Michael Shannon doing that, you know, trying to make John Travolta. I don't see that. But I love John, but Michael Shannon has been an obsession of mine.
Okay, other questions? Yes, go ahead.
I was wondering how you captured the mentality of a serial killer. Like, were you interviewing people, or how did you make that psychological profile?
She's asking, how did you enter into the mentality of a serial killer? Was there research behind it, or how did you approach creating this atmosphere?
Well, Kuklinski was not a serial killer. He was a killer, but you know, serial killers are many psychopaths, and then have getting some kind of arousement or enjoyment, satisfaction from the kills. Richard was a sociopath, which is a little bit different. The definition is like, you have, it's in you, it's a DNA thing that you're born with. You know, it depends that usually you have a lack of fear and a lack of conscience of your actions. And Kuklinski was a guy that, because of his childhood, and I chose not to deal so much with his childhood in this film, because I thought about, you know, not myself, but I'm sure many people in the world have been abused as a child, but it doesn't mean that they become a hitman or a killer. So, but if that abuse is existing, people that have a sociopathy in them, then they become a disconnection, and there is like almost no conscience on their actions. So they actually can do crazy stuff. So some people are choosing to be, either they have no fear factor, they're going to become policemen or firefighters or going to the army, or bungee jumping. But seriously, there's the difference. So Kuklinski was not a serial killer. Now, did I interview sociopaths? No, I know a few. So I just, I mean, we did our research, but not in an interview manner.
Okay, go ahead, sir. The question is, what happened to his family?
Well, his family is still living in New Jersey. His wife and daughter, and he has actually a son that we couldn't portray in film. They changed their family name, and they try to maintain a normal life. I only have a connection with his older daughter, Mary, that contacted me on Facebook. And we became friends, and she has a lot of love to her father. So, but his wife and they're all married, they have kids. They're trying to live a normal life. They're trying to go forward, I guess.
Okay. Other questions? Yes.
Why did you want to tell this story? I mean, it's for this society that sort of glamorizes serial killers, but why, or contract killers? So why this?
The question is, why did you want to tell this story? The gentleman feels we live in a society that has a tendency to glorify this kind of thing, this subject matter, so why this particular one?
Well, I didn't try to glorify the idea of him being a control killer. I was very affected by the documentary of HBO when I saw it for the first time, and then when I got the 19 hours outtakes, I saw a lot of moments that not a lot of people seen, and I just found the duality of the characters fascinating me. I myself, I had, you know, I served in the Israeli army, and we used to go from sitting in a room playing backgammon to flying 8 minutes into Lebanon and really see horrific stuff, and then come back and continue life. So that duality kind of like haunted me. Also, when I was in law school, I was playing parties and DJing. I was DJing before, crazy rave party. So I was like, okay, that's something I guess I'm attracted to. So that duality of somebody that inspired to have a normal life, that's creating almost a fantasy world of having a family and a wife, and everything that he was lacking as a child, and then working as a contractor was something that I thought was interesting.
Yes, over there.
In the film, Michael Shannon wears lifts, heels. And I'm wondering if that's because Kuklinski was himself a large man, or if it was a character adaptation.
The question is, in the film, Kuklinski, Michael Shannon wears lifts. And so the gentleman is asking, was that an affectation, or was that something that Kuklinski did because he was a smaller man? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a funny question. Well, Richard Kuklinski was 6'5". Michael Shannon was 6'3". So I don't think it was the idea to even lift, and then Winona Ryder, she's really tiny. So that's by the way why I shot the movie in aspect ratio 185 and not 235, so I can actually frame together. And not have like a head and two heads talking to each other. I think some of it was the stylistic choice of the costume designer that we thought the 70s was just very funky in the shoes. No, not even like working flats anymore. I actually didn't like working. But that's the answer, I guess.
Yes, go ahead.
Was Michael Shannon the first choice for the role?
So,
And seen his earlier work?
and was Michael Chen the first choice for the role, and had you seen his earlier work? I think you talked a bit about that.
Yeah, yes, I've seen, obviously. Michael Shannon was not the first choice when I started to write the script. He was always in my mind. I think the first choice that I had, the first person actually I met on the project was really early, was Leah Schreiber. I really like. But then again, you know, you're going through financing and people try and get you different names. As I said, like Sylvester Stallone. It was one time his name was right. And again, all great actors, but I think once I got in touch with Michael Shannon, it was very hard for me to get the picture out of him, from the characters.
Okay, there's a question there, please.
I wanted to build on the last couple of questions go for you. Did you see this film as having a moral center, and who would you think it would be?
Do you see this film as having a moral center, and if you do, what would that be? Where would that be?
I need to take a moment. Well, obviously every film has a certain, you know, you can take it to your own personal life. I'll tell you a story that happened to me 2 days ago, and maybe that will help you, and myself with the answer. A friend of mine who is an agent, an actor agent in LA, called me after he saw the movie on Friday. And he tells me I'm sitting outside my house, and I'm taking my tie away, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm trying to rethink your movie again, and I'm trying to understand that I'm about to go home now and spend the weekend with my family, and I need to do the transition into a family man. And I just feel that I killed a couple of actors' career today. I destroyed a lawyer's reputation. And I really feel bad with myself, but I had to do it because I want to maintain my lifestyle. I want to live that life. And then I had to go back and spend the weekend with my family. So what's the moral about it is like, maybe we can do, you know, obviously we should be better to each other, and we should definitely treat our children better, and be aware that this is something that some of us are born with that, with some kind of sociopathy. So the moral is, I guess, be a better person and not be him.
That's fair. Yes, towards the back there, please.
Yes. James Franco had a very small part in what we saw on the screen for an actor of his stature. Did he originally have a larger part, and was that edited out?
Question is, James Franco had a very small role for an actor of his stature. Did he do more? Was it edited out, or please explain?
Well, James was attached for a year to the project, playing Chris Evans' role. And I think it was like 6 weeks before production, his father passed away. It was in the middle of shooting Oz, so, and he created us a little bit of an issue. He couldn't come for the 2 weeks. He had to, anyway, it was a personal decision, but he and Michael Shannon are very good friends, and they did a couple of shots together, and so I think James felt that he really wanted to be a part of the film. We were a little bit angry, but we love James, so we said, okay, come in. So we thought about what would be a good scene for him, so we said, okay, he's going to have to beg his life for Michael.
Wow.
So
Okay, yes, right there, please.
You chose to give Richard Kuklinski's character in this movie emotions, but based on the HBO documentary shows that you never had any emotions when you spoke about his killer. So why did you choose in this movie to give so much emotion to this character?
Okay, the gentleman says, if I can paraphrase that, in the film here you show that Kuklinski has a lot of emotions, which for those who saw the HBO documentary, it was clear there, certainly they were never portrayed. He never showed any emotion in that documentary. So why did you choose to take this path and show all these emotions?
Well, it's not entirely true, because in the documentary, actually in the first version of it from the 92, the Jim Thibault, the first part of the documentary, the end of the film is actually, we just took the ending of the documentary. He's actually talking about his family and he's actually sharing it here. When I watched the 19 hours outtakes, actually my favorite moments of those, it was like actually when he was in between takes, when he was off camera and they were talking to him, and he was actually very, very, very sympathetic with character. And he was telling a story about his daughter, about how he used to take her every morning to school, and he used to park in a parking spot of one of the sisters in the Catholic school. And it's actually a funny story, but I don't know why they didn't include that story in the documentary. And he walked his daughter, and then the sister comes to him and said, "Mr. Kuklinski, you cannot park in that parking spot." And he whispered to her and said, "God told me to do that." So I found him, he had really a kind of like a sarcastic sense of humor, and I think the people surrounded him, and the people that knew him and interviewed him always told me that if you would see him, and you would have a conversation with him in a diner, in a bar, he's a guy that you want to see, the game with. He was a very, actually, interestingly charming person. So we recognize that, and again, it's a movie. You need to get some kind of an audience empathy connection to a character. You gotta at least try and show that. I try not to be too apologistic for him, But
does it go back to that duality that you were talking about,
Yeah,
that you
of course.
needed to show the side of him that could maintain a family?
Listen, I was not in the living room
Yeah.
with his wife. There was claim also that he was very violent to his wife at some point. And again, as a filmmaker, you got to choose what you want to show and how you want to show things. So you can show the idea that that energy could exist at home, but you don't need to show it actually the physicality of it. Otherwise, none of you would be here. I promise you that. Now,
we have time for one more question. Yes, go ahead. This is her question is, what does it feel like to watch your own movie?
terrifying. It's also, making a movie, it's a long process. It's writing, and then you're struggling to get the movie financed, and after that, it's the whole process of pre-production and production and then post-production. You're watching the movie so many times, and so by the time it's on the big screen, you never know how the audience will respond. So it's always like there is a stomach pain. And right now, I'm actually having a little bit hard time even watching it again, but I still love it.
Well, so do we. Thank you for being here.
I really want to thank my producer, Ariel Vromen, Ryerson, Mark, and thank the festival first.